with Shane Harris. Each speaker will have a minute and a half. Mr. Harris, you have 4 speakers in total. There are you and 3 others that are ceding time to you, so you will have a total of 6 minutes. If I could just have the other speakers please indicate that they are still here. Ryan and Amanda, and then Adrian. Very good. Thank you very much. So, sir, you will have 6 minutes.
Thank you, Chair and committee. We'll go ahead and begin. I'm Shane Harris, the president and founder of the People's Association of Justice Advocates, and I'll go to the slides in a few minutes. Good morning. As president of the People's Association of Justice Advocates, my nonprofit civil rights organization and office has been active in the recovery effort in neighborhood south and eastern parts of the city, working to assist much needed property tax assistance efforts for homeowners who were affected, cleanup efforts, championing free restoration services with local businesses like 911 Flood Pros, getting sandbags to our most vulnerable, and other recovery services to our residents most in need. I want to go across the slides just for a minute so you can see some of that work. So, if we can go to the next slide. As you can see, my office has been very active. This was prior to the storm on January 22nd that hit South Crest. This is South Crest prior to that storm when the IBA drafted this memo. Go to the next slide, please. This is after the storm. San Diego Union Tribune put that photo in one of their articles showing the devastation and the disaster of South Crest and southeastern neighborhoods, among other neighborhoods. Next slide. And there you can see me with County Assessor Jordan Marks and walking with residents along 42nd Street, touring the homes and providing direct assistance, property tax assistance, as well as other assistance that my office was able to champion with the County Assessor's Office to provide free birth certificates and other personal items, free of charge to residents who lost all of their most personal important documents. Next slide, please. There is a packed town hall. As you can see, my office has been extremely active hearing from the most vulnerable residents, some of who are here with me today. Next slide, please. And I think there's a video. We'll come back to that in a moment. Oh, there it is. So as you can see, my office very active, ensuring that we even got sandbags to the most vulnerable residents across our city. I was on boots on the ground, as the mayor has been saying. I too was. With that being said, I wanted to take this opportunity to thank the many city employees and everyone who has pulled together, including organizations, to help the neighborhoods south and east of downtown hit hardest by the January 22nd storms recover from the horrific floods. It should be noted that each council member's priorities were due to the IBA on January 12th, prior to the flooding, January 22nd. And it should also be noted that D4 did not submit any updated priorities because they are currently unrepresented by a council member. That seat is vacant. 4th District was decimated by this storm. The primary concern I have with the budget priorities presented today is that stormwater is listed at the bottom of infrastructure priorities, behind transportation and mobility, safety, streets, sidewalks, and even then, the only request related to stormwater infrastructure is a vaguely stated request that more funding be directed towards stormwater projects given the $1.6 billion funding gap over the next 5 years. This in no way constitutes a real plan or even a request for a plan to appropriately upgrade the city's stormwater system. The Stormwater Department estimates that it needs funding in the amount of $275 million a year through 2040 in order to properly upgrade the city's stormwater system, and it actually only has funding of $50 million a year from the city. The gap in funding for stormwater is the #1 infrastructure issue in the city, even ahead of the roadwork, streetlights, parks, stoplights, and sidewalks. The city needs to make a commitment beginning in 2025 to begin funding the needed stormwater allocation now and into the future that will necessarily prevent some of what we saw this year. In 2022, there was an effort made by the Stormwater Department to bring light to their severe underfunding issue, and they proposed a ballot measure for a vote of the people to increase the stormwater charge, and specific projects were named, including Choice Creek Culvert expansions, which is the cause of flooding in southeastern San Diego. The underlying issue is that in San Diego is that our culverts, including below ground pipes, which carry rainwater runoff from inline areas to the ocean, were built 70 years ago and are now severely undersized for the demands of increased development and hardscape that has been added, and there has not been political commitment to fund these stormwater projects. The ballot measure polled poorly, and it was decided by the same San Diego City Council that we now have that did not want the stormwater tax measure to compete with the People's Ordinance ballot measure that increased fees for trash collection in 2022. Taxing the same people as we've seen in the past does not work, who have been devastated by these floods, and it won't work this year. I am requesting that this be a priority to you. Additionally, Development Services requests additional code enforcement officers in each budget cycle, but this has always been a low budget priority as well, but it is showing to be even more specific. I'm asking you and imploring you to look into the other routes, such as EPA matching grant funds that we can use, such as using the lease revenue bonds, directing resources from projects like the sports arena project to a more important project to ensure that the new sports arena does not drown, lease revenue bonds, and cutting other city services. Make stormwater a priority, because you drowned them once, don't drown them again. Thank you.
Thank you very much.